Okay, it's going live. Oh, and then I gotta adjust the audio, so. Now we got 3 people. As soon as I adjust the audio, and then I gotta adjust the audios. There. Right. And let's let everybody in. Darlene, Stephanie King, and Liza.
Good morning, Darlene. Good morning, Liza. Good morning, Stephanie.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's great to see everyone this morning.
Yeah, not sure if Stephanie's calling from the East Coast or not,
So
but it's morning here on the West Coast.
Yes, it may not be morning for everyone.
Well, that's very ugly. My green drink does not look very appetizing, but it is delicious.
I bet it is.
It's so good. Love my green drinks. So we're going to do Q&A today, but before we get into Q&A, I wanted to share something really exciting. So I'm not sure if you all know this, but Jamie actually is a very experienced speaker. She's won awards. She has lots of experience on the speaking circuit. And what she is going to do, because we've talked about how helpful the Q&As are, because a lot of topics come up that we don't get to address, right, Jamie? Like things we may not even think about.
Yeah.
Like your business, right? Like Liza's business. So one thing I said, Jamie, you've got all this great information. Why don't you share with us tips so that we can learn how to speak better and feel more comfortable when we're speaking? Because really, if you can be comfortable speaking to just one person, 2 people, a group of people, get on stage and speak, which I know you've done many times, Jamie, then it can really help boost your confidence, and not only boost your confidence in getting up on stage, but it boosts your confidence in how you can go approach people. Wouldn't you say, Jamie?
Absolutely. You know, I know we think of public speaking as being on a stage, but every time you're out in public and you're talking about your business, or, you know, you're talking about the work that you do, you are being a public speaker. And if you really want to influence people and spread that message, it's easy to do. And you don't have to be terrified of public speaking, because a lot of people are. I was in the beginning. So, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Well, I love how you said that public speaking is really even just speaking to one other person. That's a public speaking, because you might want to be, you know, selling either your business, selling yourself, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So what Jamie and I thought would be really fun is that next week she is going to give us some 5 tips, but we thought, well, why would we just stop with one session? Let's do the whole month. And again, if you have questions about your business during this time of the speaking, feel free to ask. We're here for you for that. But we thought it would be really fun for Jamie to give us all some tips and points about speaking and some guidance. And then I think the first week of September, so we're going to do it all of September, because I'm going to be gone actually 2 of those weeks. So it'll be fun for everybody to just really get into this. But I thought that after next week, I'll do a little 5-minute like talk, and then Jamie can critique me so that you all can kind of understand like what we're kind of looking for and what might help you. And then all of you will get a chance to do a little bit of speaking, and then have Jamie kind of give you some help and tips. And since this is such a safe and sacred space, it would be really fun to do this. So for those of you who are listening in, you know, we're going to do this the whole entire month of September. So you do have a chance to come and do a little 5-minute speech and have Jamie help you. And then we're also going to be helping you, right, Jamie, talk about Animal Reiki.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And don't panic, you know, because there's some, it's like anything else. There is a method to presenting. And once you know that method, it makes it so much easier to actually get your message across. So don't panic about it.
Well, and you know, I was thinking too, like Joanne last week was a little bit nervous about going into the shelter, right? And to talk about it. And that's public speaking. And so, it just something as simple as that. Like, you don't have to be planning to go do a speech or planning on a presentation. Just going into the shelter and letting them know who you are.
Mhm. Absolutely. That's public speaking. And we're going to talk about ways that you could be prepared for that next week.
I love that so much. So that's what we have to look forward to. Like, we're going to start it next week, but all of September, I think next week is the 31st anyway. So it's kind of at the beginning of September, but we thought that would be a super fun thing to do for you guys. And even for Jamie and I, because I do need some help. And we've got the Shelter Animal Reiki Association is going to be hosting a really wonderful online conference. And Jamie is helping to get some really great exhibitors there. You'll all have a chance to exhibit as well. And so this is a great time to get prepared for that, right, Jamie?
Absolutely. Because when people, every time you're out in public like that, you should have kind of a message that you know how to present for that group. And it makes a huge difference in how people view you and, how effective you are.
Exactly. And you know what I love about our conferences, we're going to have the ability for people to do their own meet and greets. So you can just create your own subject and do your own little impromptu meet and greet, or like a Q&A or whatever you want to do, or just, hey, let's network together thing. And this is a great chance by doing this speaking with Jamie, is to get kind of ready for that and really participate in the conference, because online conferences are easy. Who cares? It's not like when you walk up, oh, I hate in-person conferences. Oh my God, I cannot stand networking. Jamie's really good. Like yesterday, you were at Zoo to You, or Super Zoo. What is that?
Yeah, Super Zoo. It's the second largest retail pet industry retail. So it's for like buyers. They come in, they buy for stores. And I went in and introduced myself and talked about SARA, and that we had this summit coming up. And we were looking for like-minded people to support us, and which could we send you some information. But even that's public speaking. So I prepared before, and realized what message I wanted to get across to everyone.
You know what? You had an experience yesterday. I would really love for you to share about it. And it was when you went to talk to the woman. She had like some chicken thing, and how she wasn't into it, and what you said to her. Hey, Marilyn.
And we,
Welcome. We're talking about public speaking. And so Jamie's going to share a really interesting story about what happens when we're getting a no. And maybe even the person that's giving you a no isn't even sure they're giving you a no. So go ahead, Jamie, could share that, because I thought that was really important.
So I was at Super Zoo looking for sponsors for the SARA Summit, and just introducing myself, introducing SARA. And I came up to one that had farm animals on it. And I thought, well, that would be good. So I go up and I first ask about them. And the guy's telling me about their product and everything. And I said, well, listen, I don't have a retail store, but here's why I want to talk to you. And I explained about the summit, and a woman came up and she goes, what are you talking about? So I again went through the spiel that I had prepared, because I kind of knew what I was going to say to everybody before I went in. And she looked very confused, and she was kind of asking questions. And she goes, well, I don't understand this. I don't know what this is about. And I would try to explain it again. And it quickly became very clear that she wasn't listening and wasn't interested. And I just simply said, I don't think that this is for you, that you want to be a part of this, and that's okay. Don't worry about it. And then I thanked her for her time, have a good show, and I started to leave. And she goes, well, I just don't. I said, it's okay. Really, it's okay. And I went off to the other exhibitors, because there was plenty of exhibitors there. I didn't take that personally at all. But I didn't want to spend a lot of time with her, because I knew she wasn't a yes, and she wasn't interested in supporting the summit.
And you saved her time, and you saved your time. And in my entrepreneur group, there's a saying, always be the buyer, which sounds confusing when you're trying to sell something. How can I be the buyer if I'm trying to sell something? But the point of that is that you have something valuable, and you're sharing it, saying, hey, if you're interested. But if you get somebody who is, I don't know, you don't want to sell them. Like if they're like, well, I'm interested, but I'm not sure. Why don't you tell me more? That's different. But if you have someone who's got the brakes on the entire time you're talking, you can say, you know what? Change the subject, or, well, let's talk about what you're doing, and don't even worry about it. Don't waste your time selling, because you don't even want that person to be your client, to be your student, to pay you for your services, because they will always then turn around and go, well, is this for sure? You don't want to be convincing people. You want people who, when you meet them, they're in complete alignment. And I don't know if you want to say more about that, Jamie.
Because usually what I have found with people like that, they end up being more of a problem, and they cause me problems. They could leave you a bad review. I've had one who stopped her payment on PayPal and reported it as fraudulent. And then when I contacted her, she gave some excuse that it was PayPal, and she ended up sending me a check, like a month or two later. But it just wasn't worth it at all. When I had to go through with her, and I should have just said, no, I just don't think this is for you right now.
When you said that, I made myself a note, because I just saw the other day on Monday that we got a charge back on SARA. And I don't remember this woman ever asking us if she could get a refund, saying it wasn't a good fit. And it hurts your business when you get a charge back.
Yes.
So you always just want to make sure you're attracting the right people. And I have to look and see it. This might've been a community supporter, I think it was. And so that's just something that people do on their own. And I know they don't like it when we do our automatic billing every year. So it could be that, but just really be careful on who you're attracting, because you're right, Jamie, that is the worst.
It is. And I went to another booth and I started to explain, and I don't know if he really knew about SARA, but he said he did. But I think he heard the word shelter, and his sister, who had just passed away, had been an animal rescuer in Texas. And he was so excited about the possibility of, supporting the summit. And
that was Nordic. What's their full name?
I know it's
they do oils. So
yeah.
it's Nordic Naturals, I think, or something.
Yeah.
But they do oils, and they're a very, very generous company. And that's the kind of company that we want in the SARA conference, right? That's the kind of company where they're like right away, oh, what can we do? Yes, we want to be involved, because they understand your message and they get it and they want to be involved. But again, what's the secret here? You've got to be clear on your message. And Jamie's very good at that. So that's something that we have to look forward to, is that Jamie's going to really help us kind of hone in on that message. And you don't have to say exactly what Jamie says, just like we don't want to say exactly what Kathleen says, but we want to get that comfort level where we're going to have our own things like, oh, Jamie said this, but what I would really like to add is whatever that is, right? You add something of your own personal flair, and then you sell that, because when you're comfortable with it, guess what, right, Jamie?
Yes. And, it just gives you more confidence when you talk to people, because you know how to present this, you've got the language down, and it's just makes you more confident. And so it's much easier to say, I don't think this is for you right now, and move on and not take it personally and go find somebody that it is for.
And you know what? And I love that too, because what is the one thing we hate? We hate hearing no, right? But if we can start making it easier for other people when we hear their no, then it helps them start making it easier for other people when they say no. You know what I mean? It's just like this, it's a continuum where you're constantly giving back. So we're changing kind of the dynamic of a no, because sometimes a no just means not right now. And sometimes a no means, like in that woman's case, no. And that's okay.
And I could tell she was struggling with saying no. I mean, she just kept like wishy-washy and and trying to ask questions, and she really wanted to say no. So it's like, you know what? I think this isn't for you. It's okay.
Yeah. And I think that's something that is really important for us to do, is just get comfortable with hearing no, and get comfortable with saying, you know what, it's okay. This isn't for everyone, because what we offer isn't for everyone. And in fact, that's like when you're going to sell for your business, or even when you go into the shelter, that what you have isn't for everyone. And when you can be comfortable with that, you're not going to get 100% buy-in. And there is not one product in this world that has 100% buy-in. I mean, look at iPhone. People who love iPhone think, oh my God, there's no other phone. But then people who have Galaxy are like, there's no other phone for me, right? But yet they're both insanely popular. They both make insane amounts of money. And you know, if you were talking to a Galaxy person about an iPhone, they would say no, and vice versa with the iPhone. So it's like just getting comfortable with no is okay. Oh, go ahead, Darlene. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to
No.
add too that I think the hard part for me, still being so new to this, is when you get people that are trying to like tear you apart in a sense. You know, it's like they're just asking all these questions, and it's like they're almost asking in a sense to to not to make you feel bad, but it's just like just the way of asking it, it has a tendency of like making me question myself.
Right. I've been there. I know Jamie's been there. I mean,
Then you
Yeah.
just you start losing confidence in yourself, and you start fumbling your words, and then you just make yourself feel more stupid, and it's like you just run into those people. It's like they just want to try to nitpick and tear you down because they don't understand what you're offering.
well, and I think that's why keeping that simple message, I meditate with animals, and meditation brings peace just like with humans. And if they're like, well, I don't get it, or if you can feel like they're attacking you, then you can go, well, it's not for everybody, and change the subject. And I don't know, Jamie, what you want to say on that.
And what you'll find is the best way to prepare for situations like that is to practice your message.
Mhm.
And you can look at all these great speakers on the stages, the Les Browns, everybody that's out there being these huge motivational speakers that make all this money. They have a message that they practice and practice and
Mhm.
practice. Is it memorized? Probably, but it's not rote. I mean, they know it so well that when somebody throws them off, they can handle that, and then they can go right back to their message. And that comes from practice. And so the more you get out there, just like me going to Super Zoo, getting the nose was good for me because it gave me practice, and to where I wouldn't take it personally. And it's a little easier, because it was SARA. It wasn't like me, I wasn't trying to sell myself per se, but it was practicing getting no. And I was able to say, I don't think this is for you right now. I'm going to move on. Don't worry about it. And so that was good practice for me to get those no's, because the more we get them, the easier they become. And the closer we are to our yeses. I found the other guy that was so thrilled to be part of it after the chicken lady.
Well, I think too, like when we start off in Reiki, so for me personally, when I was first starting off, it was very hard for me to talk about Animal Reiki, right? Because it was like, oh, it's this Japanese system, blah, blah, blah. It was just so convoluted, and I constantly got no. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And then I just focused on what I got out of it, right? And so for me, it was the meditation part. Even though back then we were not saying meditation, to me, that's what it was. I'm like, I don't care what Kathleen or anybody's calling it. It's meditation to me. So I would just tell people I meditate with dogs and cats. And then they would say, oh, wow, well, what does that do? And I never got anybody going, what? If I said Reiki, I got, what? It's the word Reiki. The minute you say it, they're either like, that sounds weird, or, oh, I already know what that is. And they don't, because we do it so differently. This isn't hands-on healing. And I have to say that, well, it's not hands-on healing. And then they would go, well, what is it? And that creates like, oh, now I've got to defend this. But when I would just say, I just meditate with animals. Oh my God, that sounds so cool. What do you do? And now you've switched the whole entire conversation. Now it's something that they understand. They know the benefits of meditation for humans. And now you can talk about, well, this is how it works with animals. For me personally, this is what I do. And, I sit with the animal, I get quiet, I bring myself into balance, I let go of my anger, my worry, whatever that is. And then because my energy is really peaceful, animals who communicate through energy, they don't talk, they don't do sign language. It's all energy. then they pick up on that. And that's how you like, and simply like you say, oh, that's, certain dogs like certain people and they don't like others, it's energy. It's the energy of the person. So you can talk like that. But as soon as we start going, well, this is a Japanese system and it's like, oh.
Focus on the results, not the technique.
And focus on what you like, what you know to be true, like for yourself, because really it's a personal practice. And when you're explaining it, if you try to, like I used to try to go off of what Kathleen said, and I could never remember what she said because that was her experience, right? That's what she's sharing is for her. And I had to share what was true for me. So for you, Darlene, share what's true for you and what you get out of it. And then everything else will fall into place.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up because we've all been there. I mean, especially when you first start out. And so let's get into the questions. Who had a question today that they're bringing to the table?
Yeah, who else has a question?
Oh, Liza, go right ahead, girl.
I have a list today, but I can just go one at a time. I don't want to take up too much time. So I'll just start though. Like, so one of my first things is, so I do a meditation circle. And I just teach a lot of different techniques when I do it. I just do it once a month. Of course, it's way slanted with Reiki because that's who I am, which is cool because a lot of people don't know the stuff that I'm teaching. So, or sharing. But the issue that I'm having is that, so everybody likes to get text messages for their reminder. I'm in a lot of other circles where we just do a text message for reminding and we do it the day of. Everybody knows that, whatever day of the month it's coming, and just a reminder the day of is good for people. Nobody wants emails. They want the text. The problem is I can't text more than 20 people in one message. And I have over 20 people in my group now.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
They're not 20 people that are coming all the time.
Right. But still
20 people that I send a message, over 20 people. So then I go separately to some people that want, for the moment are getting Facebook messages on Messenger. And I'm like, oh, this is a lot of work.
Let's table that question and I will find an answer for you before the end of the call, because that's going to be an app.
Okay.
I was going to say there's apps for that. Yes.
Do you have an iPhone or a Galaxy?
I don't know if it's a Galaxy, but it's not an iPhone.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not Galaxy. What do they call it? It's either an iPhone or a
Android.
Android. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. Let's go. There's that one. Oh, so I just signed up yesterday to be a SARA teacher. So I'm sure I have a lot more questions because I'm still going through things. I have a class coming up in October, the first weekend in October. I don't know if I'm going to have all my ducks in a row I'm going to donate to my rescue that I volunteer at because I'm doing the class at a place for them, but it might not totally be, I might not have all the SARA materials and everything. I see that we have to have, the manual plus the SARA book when we're teaching a SARA class. So I'm not sure I'm going to be all set up for this first class, but regardless, that's okay. What was I going to say about that? Where to get Reiki insurance?
Go to the SARA site and there's an insurance, I think in the welcome or on resources in there somewhere, you'll find insurance.
Teachers resources, and you just scroll down. There's a couple of places that.
Okay.
I think, what is it? Balance for the UK, but for us, it's like hands on or hands something maybe.
Yeah, there's some that, one that doesn't cover the teaching part. So one does. So just check on that. I can't remember.
Okay, cool. Another thing. So I do Reiki with humans and non-human animals. For humans, I have an office space and I share that office space on my website. I can only offer X amount of hours because I'm sharing space with someone for humans. But my animal sessions, I can offer different hours. Well, I have a website that you highly don't recommend. I have a Wix website. I can't offer conflicting hours. Does
Right.
that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It won't let me. So it just drops one of them off. So
Right.
I can only either have these hours or these hours. So
You
I'm
might
not,
have to do 2 different programs for that. What are you
Well,
using right now to schedule? Like,
it's
are you-
there.
it's Wix.
It's Wix.
Okay. See if you can add a Calendly.
Calendar,
Calendly
like
is
my Google Calendar.
no,
add
no,
my-
no. It's called Calendly. It's
Oh.
CAL. It's CALENDLY. And that's a scheduling thing. And so you can put your calendar into Calendly, and then people will be able to schedule certain times and not schedule when you're not. See if you can put a link to a Calendly. And I'm sure you can put at least a link where they can then go straight to calendaring with you for that. So then you wouldn't have to mess with your human one. And Calendly is pretty user friendly. So, and I think you could just put a link. I think that would be easy to do. And,
Okay.
and so you wouldn't even have to like do a widget or an app or like a plugin, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yeah. So just really quickly, since I found the answer, and it is a very short answer.
Okay.
You just create a group with your 20 people. So in your contacts, make a group.
Okay.
And so you can have more than 20 people in a group.
Oh,
And then you just text to the group. That's how you get around that.
okay, cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Okay, and I'll just do one more thing if that's okay, really quick. I
All
wonder.
right, Liza, it's the Liza show. Teasing.
I know. I think you've actually talked about this a long time ago. I think I remember you talking about it. Maybe, I mean, because I was a SARA, I think, practitioner a long time ago, and so I used to go to the meetings online. Sadly, that's the night I work, so I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. I might have to watch only some of them live, but anyway, it's about there's a couple of sides to this. So Reiki with kids.
Oh
and
yeah.
Specifically, so I currently am doing a booth at our farmers market in downtown Hillsborough.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. So I share space with the gal that I share my office space with also. And we have just a little table and we've got information about Reiki. And anyways, so this little boy and his dad and his brother are walking by our booth, and the little boy's 5, 6-ish. And we do have this really beautiful crystal that I have that we put on the table just because it looks pretty. It's a big quartz crystal. But anyways, the little boy says, "I want to do that," were his exact words. And his dad says, he's looking and he walks over with him, and the little boy starts touching the crystal. And I said, "So do you want to do a Reiki session?" His dad's like, "No, he just wanted to touch the crystal." I'm like, okay. And so I just started talking to him a little bit more, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to do that." And so he came and he sat in the chair, and his dad's like, "Well, he's got ADD. He's not gonna last at any time at all." And we just do little 3-minute sessions so people can see what it feels like. And so I said to him, I said, "Okay, so are you okay? I can either put my hands on your head and your shoulders, or I can just have them above and not touch you." Went through the whole thing. And he's like, "You can touch my head and shoulders. It's fine." And I said, "You just let me know when you're done. If you want to stop before the 3 minutes, that's fine." So anyways, did the session. He lasted a minute and a half. And the dad was just amazed. He's like, "I can't believe he sat still for a minute and a half and let you do that." So we talked a little bit about how this would be a great group to cater to, right? So I was just curious about if you guys have done anything like that with children or kids or people with ADHD and ADD and all that.
No, my nephew, when he was little, Marcus, like little, like 2, I was doing Reiki, and we did Reiki a lot. And like he would tell his friends, like he would be talking about animals, and they're like, "Why are you so obsessed with animals?" He'd be like, "Hello, I do animal Reiki." So, and he was little when he's telling kids this, like 5 and 6. So we have 2 things for kids. One is like a precept card. It's got little kid drawings and it talks about the precepts, just what they are. And then we have a handout that's the 6 pillars. And so we were, before COVID hit, working on a kids program. Amber Shaner and I were. And actually just 2 days ago, I had this kind of epiphany that we really need to be in shelters with kids and having them sit with the animals and say, I love you, you're safe, you're important, you know, I'm here for you, I see you, whatever that is, because it also will help the kids with their own personal growth, right? You know, they're saying it to the animals, but they're hearing it and they're getting it back from themselves. So I was talking to Kelly, and Kelly said that's something the shelters would be open to doing. So working with a shelter to start a kids program is probably a really good idea. Probably have to do it during holidays or during summer break,
Right.
but or you could just there's a woman in SARA, Deb from Australia, who I don't know if you met Deb. Was Deb in the class when you went to care, Liza, from Australia?
No, it was Ilona when I was the only one from Australia.
Oh, okay. So she actually teaches children meditation, and she would be a good person. Like if you get serious and you want to do that, I can put you in connection with her and she can talk to you, because there's certain things like you want to have more movement with kids, you want to have more sound, like the dong and things that they can kind of grasp onto. So it's different than an adult class. But there are different ways, and we are going to be working on that. Amber Shaner and I, and a little bit with Deb's help as well, to do a children's program. But yeah, we will keep you updated. And then if you think of something too, like let us know, because we're here to support that. But I think that's beautiful. And yes, kids are very open to this.
They are when we're at the booth, all the little kids, right? It's like 7 and under. They're like,
Right.
I watch them and they'll like turn around and stare at us, and they're wondering what we're doing, or they're not wondering. They probably know exactly what we're doing.
Kids are really open because they're at that you know, they're still, and this is like scientifically proven, they're in that theta state where they're still really open to subconscious. They aren't at the beta stage yet. That doesn't happen until 12. So right now their minds are really open to different things, and they're closer to, you know, just like the more subconscious than we are. So they do get it. Like my little nephew, Marcus, like I didn't even teach him this. And I would go, okay, let's do Reiki. And he was probably only like 3. And he sat cross-legged and went like this. And I'm like, well, how do you even know that? Like, I don't do that. So it was weird, you know, they're just come knowing. So I think that, yeah. I don't know if you have something to add to that, Jamie, about the kids.
Darlene just said kids' minds are like a sponge, and that is so true.
It is.
They just pick up on everything, and I think that's great. And as soon as you were talking about that, Liza, because Leah was telling me about that too, what she had, this had come to her, and I'm like, oh, here's another message. So it's like, yeah, it must be that
Must be time.
it must be time to present this and do a program for kids.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, Mary Lynn.
Yes. Hi,
Thank you.
everybody.
Hi.
I have a comparable example to Reiki with kids. When I was teaching, aside from being a special education teacher, I was also a reading specialist. And the location where I was in training, and part of the training is you work with a student for a period of time. And I introduced, I had a dog at the time, little Gizmo, who was a Lhasa Apso. And I don't know how it came about, but I suggested that, oh, I know, I guess I was reading something about children reading to animals, and how to read to an animal is motivating for them to read. And so I brought this up to the professor, director, and she was all for it. So I said, well, I think my dog would be a perfect, student instructor. So sure enough. And for, I guess for the full year that I was in in part in this part of training, Gizmo and I worked together. And I had many children with attention difficulties, not just the reading. And wow, with the dog there, their attention, their motivation increased, skyrocketed. And Gizmo enjoyed it because, he was getting some attention. And it was a give and take. It was so beautiful. So it reminded me of the Reiki, what you were saying, having kids enter a shelter and meditating with the animals along with you. And I'm all for that. And I look forward to learning more about what you plan and bringing it up to the shelter where I am involved.
And Marilyn, Kelly, she hasn't done it since COVID, but she would do the children's program at one of her shelters that she belongs to. She has like 6, so I don't remember which shelter it was. It might have been Homeward Bound, but they would bring the kids in for summer school, and she would do a little meditation thing. So she would be a really great, because I think she's your teacher, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. So she would be a great resource for you to connect with, because I was talking to her yesterday about this program.
About my application challenge.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. But that's no. It's confusing, and I think we got it filled out.
Yeah, I understand what to do now.
But
anyway, I think it's like Darlene was saying, anything new and different is attractive to a child, especially a sweet dog or cat,
right?
So
Absolutely.
especially if you had a lap cat, but still in all, I think the children sense the energy, the positive energy, and they just gravitate toward that, like Liza's experience. I think your energy was just shining, pouring forth, Liza, and the kids were drawn to you.
Just like
animal. Yeah, just like animals. So anyway.
Yay. Well, thank you so much. So does anyone else have questions that they want to ask? Stephanie, I don't know if you have the ability to speak or not. I don't know if you have a question. Totally fine if you don't.
Put it in chat.
You can put that in chat if you have the ability. If you're driving, obviously we don't want you driving and texting and putting in chat and trying to talk. But Mary Lynn, I don't know if you had a question, or Darlene, if you had a question.
I do. What is the SARA summit you're speaking about?
Oh, yeah. So that is called Letting Animals Lead Us to a Better Future. And we have some really distinguished guests. We have Dr. Mark Beckoff, who is a psychologist, and he's written about animal welfare for years and years and years. And he's a huge supporter of Animal Reiki. We have David Michi, who wrote The Dalai Lama's Cat, who's going to be speaking about Buddhism and animals. We have Dr. Brenda Jagathisan, who is a professor up at Washington State, who's going to talk about the importance of the animal-child bond. So we all remember the horrible story at Katrina, when that little boy's dog was taken off the bus and left, and how devastating that is, and how children actually, like what you were saying before, Mary Lynn, how they will blossom with animals. And so she has a beautiful story about a child who was being bullied. He didn't speak the language, didn't speak English, all these things were going against him, and how this one golden retriever really helped him to blossom, and not only blossom, but to be accepted by the other kids. So she's going to talk about the importance of that. And then we have Victoria Moran, who is a famous vegan. She's actually the wife of one of our SARA members, William Melton. And she's going to talk about veganism. She's been a vegan since 1980, maybe 82. Actually, yeah, I think it is 82 because it's 2022. And so she's going to talk about all the different ways that we can try and incorporate veganism. And she's going to talk about how, you know, to be a vegan in the midst of all this animal suffering and how to deal with that. And she's also going to give us some really great secrets and tips to being a vegan. We all don't have to be a vegan, but, you know, there's a statistic that if we all just didn't eat beef one day a week, not eating beef one day a week is like saving 348 miles in carbon emissions. So you imagine you have 10 years of that, that's, you know, 30,000 miles. So it's just, it's just a way of us taking small steps to a better future is what our whole thing. And of course, Kathleen's going to speak, and Dr. Kara Gubbins, who is an animal communicator, she's also going to speak about simple ways that we can listen to animals without having to be an actual animal communicator. And then we're also going to, which was what Jamie was at Super Zoo for, we're going to get some exhibitors. And we're also going to open it up to SARA members. We'll give a special price to SARA members if they want to have a booth. And don't worry if there's a bunch of Animal Reiki people. You're an Animal Reiki person where you are, and you're going to be drawing people in, and that's a good thing for you. And we all have different gifts, so there is no, you know, competition. So we're going to encourage our members, or maybe if you have a different skill or a different thing you want to exhibit, that would be great. But the exhibit hall is going to be really fantastic. It's virtual, but every exhibit that you go visit, there'll probably be a video or maybe live Q&A. There's going to be prizes, there's going to be discounts. So it's going to be really interactive, but it's the main theme of it is basically making a better world for all of us, not only for ourselves, but for the animals. Because like Jamie always says, and I know you want to share this, or I don't know if you want to share this or not, Jamie, you say, you know, we're all animals. And so you want, if you want to talk about that.
Because, yeah, and we forget that humans are animals. We've just evolved a little differently, and we tend to believe that we are up here for a lot of reasons, but we're all the same. We're all animals. They want to live peacefully, and they want to be happy. They want to take care of their children just like we do. There's really no difference in that aspect of us. And we do have a responsibility because we're the ones with the power on this planet, and we haven't really used that responsibility well. And I think one of the speakers, isn't she also going to talk about factory farming? Because I think that's where
That's right.
we have not used our responsibility at all. We've been horrible, you know, and how we treat them. Even if you eat meat, there's other ways. We don't have to do it this way where it's torture.
Yeah, Kathy Stevens of Catskill Animal Sanctuary, which is one of the best in the nation for saving factory farmed animals. She's going to be speaking about factory farming and why it's not good for not only the animals, but for our environment and for us, the meat that we're eating. If we think about animals and energy, right? We're animal Reiki practitioners, and you think about the energy of the meat that you might be eating that is like an animal that has been very stressed, cruelly treated, and now they've died, right? So that energy goes into your food. Now, I say this, full disclosure, I'm not a vegan. I'm not even a vegetarian. I eat meat. So I say this with compassion towards myself and to everyone else who is a meat eater, because it is not easy to let go of meat, especially if you don't know where to start, which is why I'm really excited to interview Victoria to get more guidance on that. I mean, I don't eat dairy, but I do eat meat. So I do try. And and it's what's important is that we all try, even if you don't eat like red meat and you eat a different meat, like you eat turkey or chicken or whatever, if you just cut something for maybe 1 or 2 days, it makes a difference. And if we all did it, just think if 1,000 people did that, how much of an impact. If we have 10,000 people, and then if you have 1 million people, it makes a huge impact. And it's a very small change.
Yeah, you don't have to drastically.
No.
When do you have a date?
Yes, it's November 10th through the 12th. It'll
Oh,
only
good.
be, the speakers will only be in the morning time. It'll probably be from like 9 to 11 or 9 to 10:30. And, but the exhibit hall will be opened a week before the conference and then all during the day of the conference so that exhibitors will have the chance to do presentations. And then also part of this platform that we're using, it's not like one where you go and it's like YouTube videos. This is actually like like an exhibit hall, but it's virtual. You're going to be able to do your own meet and greets. Like, let's say you meet some other people that have the same interest of you and you're like, hey, let's do a room together. Let's get together and talk. There's that capability. If you want to, like, let's say Liza wants to go on there and talk about Animal Reiki on the West Coast and what she does, she can schedule a networking event, and it's hosted right there on Huva, and she can invite attendees, and then people will RSVP and they'll show up. I will say, you know, sometimes people RSVP and they don't show up. Don't think it's you. It's just that they get busy or they forget, or, you know, there's a lot going on. But we are really going to be working hard to get everybody involved and just talking and communicating and sharing, because that is really how change is made. You have to be with your tribe.
Two other, is that going to be Eastern Standard
It's
Time
going to
or
be Pacific.
Pacific? Okay.
So it'll start at 9, so it'll be noon your time.
No, yeah, right. And my other, just a comment, and I wonder, when after I took, well, I had taken the International Center for Reiki Trainings Animal Reiki course 1 and 2 level, and before I took the Let Animals Lead and level 1, and after level 2 was completed, dinner that night, I had planned to cook some fish, and I couldn't deal with it. I could not eat it. I had no interest, and I was like repulsed. So I said, wait, okay, hold on. Maybe this is just tonight. We'll see. So I gave it a few days and I felt the same way. So I said, gee, could it be from the class? I'm really, I don't know. So I contacted the teacher and she said, oh yeah, that happens. That has happened to others that she knew of. And so that was last January. So, and I still, if I absolutely have to, if I'm at someone's home or something and they're serving fish, you know, I'll do it. I'll eat it. But other than that, I've been learning on my own how to incorporate vegetables, beans, grains. So I'm very interested in the woman that will be discussing that. But anyone else have that experience after an Animal Reiki course that you?
I haven't, but I've even heard from people who took a Reiki, just a human Reiki course, and that happened to them, that they no longer eat meat for whatever reason. I think it just is, you know, we're all individuals. And for me personally, I think that it's how it hits you, you know, like if your body, your subconscious is ready for something different, then that's how. So Jamie, you might want to share your opinion on that as well.
The Reiki class per se, because I'd taken several from lots of different teachers. And at the time, it left me thinking, it's like, well, you know, if I want to help animals and I'm eating them, then I'm a predator. But I grew up in the plains. It was meat and potato country, you know, and so we ate meat. And then one day a friend was talking to me and she said, well, you know, Jamie, the energy of the kill stays in the meat. And that was it. It was that one comment that she made. I was ready for it because, of course, I've been, you know, thinking about this. It's making me a predator and I'm trying to help the animals. But when she made that comment, that was the last time I had meat, and it wasn't a struggle at that point. It was like, oh yeah, I don't want to eat meat. So
Mm.
when we're ready for it, it happens. It's everybody's
Mhm.
journey is just so different.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Right. Thank you.
So
All right.
any other questions? Nothing? Liza doesn't have more questions?
Oh, I saw, wait a minute. Check your list, Liza. See what the pup has to say.
I thought that Victoria gave me, I thought she gave me the name of a cookbook. So I'm trying to find that. That was a good vegan cookbook. Oh no, that's mindful marijuana. We talked about cannabis too. But I should get on my glasses. I never wear my glasses and then I miss stuff. But oh, here we go. It's the Main Street Vegan Academy Cookbook, and I'll put this in the chat. But she said that's the one that she wrote editorial sections for. So you might want to use this one. So does Liza have a question or not? If not, we can go to meditation.
Just one quick question. Again, sifting through all the stuff for SARA. So we're supposed to submit our hours both for our volunteer time and then like our class, the money that we donate, right?
Yeah.
Is there like a guideline, once a quarter that you submit? I mean,
No,
I'm doing my,
you can do it. I mean, usually we do it at the end of the year, but you could just submit it to Allie. Just say, this is for my quarter, and Allie will keep track of it for you. So I think doing it every quarter is a good idea. And I'm glad you brought that up because we need to start sending emails out to people about that because it helps us when we say we've actually donated, 1,000 hours between all our volunteers and donated, 50,000 monetarily. Because I think that when Kathleen and I added it up, and this was just very rough figures and shooting very low, in 10 years, we had donated back $500,000. And that's in donating back class fees, donating back volunteer time, at the volunteer rate. And so that's quite a bit that we're, donating back. Now we can't really say that, like we can't back it up because we'd have to have all of our members, and some of the members are gone that we, originally did that from. And obviously that was before COVID.
right.
So things really shifted once COVID hit, the hours dropped, exponentially. But even for distance sessions too, just anything you do that's supporting animals is what they want.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you for paying attention and for being so diligent with that. I love that. So if we don't have anything more, I'd love to do a meditation. I've been thinking about this a lot, about our practice and what we do and who we are. And it's really easy for us to get caught up in this, okay, now I'm going to center myself. I'm going to go into meditation. I'm going to try and be calm and all this. But really at the end of the day, the feeling that we're trying to cultivate within ourselves, the feeling that we're trying to share, the energy that we are trying to share with the world and with ourselves is the energy of love. And it's not the human love, I love you, but, or I love with attachment, right? It is the deep love that we get from animals. It's the deep love that we feel for our animals. It is that deep love that we have when we see a beautiful sunrise or sunset. It is that space where you become completely calm and just open, right? You no longer are attached to any outcome or anything. You just have that moment where you're in peace and love. And love isn't overwhelming. It's like, and it's not like, it's just that beautiful sense of peace within you. So let's do our Joshin Kokyo-ho, which is just breathing into our bellies, right? And we are just going to start cultivating that energy of love that resides deep within us, and it is the energy that animals see when they meet us. So just let's close our eyes and go into Gasho, and we're going to set our intention that we are open to this beautiful space of love, and we are open to cultivating this space of love within us, and to let it shine. And whenever you're ready, you can put your hands face up or face down in your lap. And we're just going to do just some nice, gentle breaths, breathing in through your nose, pulling your breath down to your belly, expand your belly, and then gently release that breath through your nose. And just do a few of those breaths. And on the release of your breath, feel your body start to relax. Feel the tension start to leave. Your shoulders soften. You feel any tension in your back start to be released. Your throat softens. Your jaw becomes slack. You feel all tension in your temples, just softening, releasing. And now, when you breathe in and pull your breath to your belly, I want you to ignite the light within you. And as you breathe out, feel that light growing in your body. With every breath in, your breath touches that light. And with every breath out, your breath expands that light within your body. As you breathe in and out, visualize the light filling your legs, down into your feet, coming up into your chest, into your heart, into your shoulders, and down your arms and into your hands. This is filling your body until you're all the way filled to the brim. And it starts to seep out every pore of your body. This beautiful light is your pure essence. It is the essence of love. It is what animals see when they meet you. It is what your own animals connect to. In this beautiful space of love, there is no anger, there is no worry. We are humble, we are grateful, and we are compassionate. In this beautiful space of love, we can be generous. We deeply understand that we all are coming from a place of love. It is our true essence, who we truly, truly are. Now, I'd like you to bring to mind an animal that mirrors this love. And it could be an animal that's here with you or an animal that's passed. But feel yourself connecting with your animal. Feel this beautiful sense of love being mirrored back to you. In this space, we are all one. In this space, it is so easy for us to connect. Just take a moment and be with your animal in this beautiful space of love. Now I'd like you to just slowly start to bring yourself back. But keep this beautiful feeling of love within you. Whenever you feel stress during your day, just come back to this beautiful space, knowing that this is the only thing that is truly real. Your ego, your feelings of lack or anger or worry are not you. You are love. And you can just slowly rub your hands together and bring them into Gasho and give thanks to your animal that joined you. And I thank all of you for joining this meditation.
Thank you, Leah. That was very nice.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And thank you for a lovely session.
Thank you.
Yes, it was so good to see everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
And be excited for next week because Jamie's going to teach us all how we can approach others and get those no's. The more no's we get, we're going to make room for those yeses. I always think about Sarah Blakely, who did Spanx, and everybody was telling her no about her Spanx. Nobody wanted to make her Spanx. And she finally found this little hosiery guide to make her Spanx. And then when she got into Neiman Marcus, they gave her one little square, one little section to put her Spanx, and she had to work hard. So it's not like it's going to be that easy, but when you truly believe in what you're doing, doors are going to open for you. Mwah. Love you all.
Thank you.
Yes.
Love you back.
Bye.
Thanks. Nice to see you all.
Nice to
Bye.
see you too. Bye.
Bye.